Welcome back. We are here to discuss more of Twin Peaks: The Return. We are talking part 9 tonight. I did want to bring up something sort of Twin Peaks related, more David Lynch related, before we get started, because I just finally looked at the list. Mulholland Drive named the #2 greatest film of the 21st century.
By the New York Times.
Wow.
By the New York Times.
Well, except it was a poll, right? Like they asked people to contribute their thing, so it wasn't just a select committee.
Drive was in that many top 10 lists that it made #2.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the number 1?
Parasite.
Yeah.
Wow. I still haven't even watched that. I swear to God, I've not watched it.
Oh,
I need
wow.
to, but I've not watched it.
Okay.
I will continue the hype train and say you got to check it out. It's amazing.
It's very good. Yeah.
It's one of those I've needed to let the hype die down because I'm just like, I was hearing all
maybe
this.
So, but
like,
let me tell you, Kevin, it is structured so well. When you think you know what the movie's going to do, it completely turns on you, like what type of movie it is.
I can get with that.
But yeah, I was impressed to see that, because I was worried, because I know that early on Mulholland Drive was often thrown around as one of the best films of the 21st century, but that was in like the aughts when it was still very fresh, and I was worried, the further we got away from it, the people would forget it. So to see that it's still up there and that it's lasting is great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And very worthy of the title. I mean, like, it definitely is one of those movies that when you see it, you don't forget whether you loved it or hated it. You will never forget it. Like, it'll stick itself in there. It crawls in, stays in.
Well, I still think the story behind it is just so romantic, right? Like this idea that he saved this this work and transformed it into something completely different.
Failed
I just
TV
love
pilot.
that story. Yeah.
A failed TV pilot becomes the #2 film of the century. That's nuts, man.
Quite the turnaround of where the industry has gone today, where now people acclaimed directors who try to get movies off the ground and then they have to turn them into limited series on a streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, I think I'm glad to see that it's still being remembered. That's the important thing, is that it hasn't fallen off the radar. It's still there. You can, whenever you see one of those lists, everyone would do this. They'll go through it and they'll be like, and they'll see ones that they love that are on there, and they'll see ones that they're like, that shouldn't be on there. And we all have that reaction. That's the fun of talking about these things. It's not real. There's no way to quantify what's
you can't quantify anything like that. Yeah,
no,
it's
exactly.
Like,
it's just fun.
The best quarterback of all time. Like, how do you quantify that when you look at different decades of how the game was played and the rules that were installed and all that kind of stuff? Like, it is just impossible to do that. I'll never understand why people feel the need to do it with sports, but it's impossible to quantify that. It's not
recognizing that the film is still in people's minds, and
after 2 decades. I mean, like, when you think
has the impact that it made, and quite frankly, one of the few things of Lynch's career that had the impact immediately out of the gate.
Yes,
it didn't build.
It didn't have to find its audience like so much of his films did. It really, it was so championed by so many critics right out the gates, which was unheard of for Lynch.
Because
other than the Elephant Man, that just didn't happen.
Even some of his other acclaimed work had its haters too.
Oh yeah, always.
Most of his work was very divisive.
Blue Velvet for sure.
Yeah,
there are plenty
Wild at Heart
about Mulholland Drive, but Mulholland Drive, for somehow, it really it's one of those that just kind of rose above. It was really impressive how it did it, because there are so many haters of Mulholland Drive just because they just don't like that era of David Lynch. They just don't it. Just does not work for them. But at the same time, again, even if they hated it, I guarantee they still remember it. And there's something to be said for that. Art is subjective, as we all know, but it's definitely great that Mulholland Drive, after 2 decades, and you think of all the films that have come out, not only in cinemas, but streaming services and all of that, all of the noise. And that film still cuts through the noise. And that's impressive when you think about, God, how many films have been out since 2001 when it dropped.
I wonder if his death had something to do with it, though, just because there was a renewed interest in him. A lot of people were checking out things like Mulholland Drive and some of his other work. So that might have rejuvenated some of that interest.
Definitely couldn't hurt.
Definitely couldn't hurt. Yeah. But I'm glad to see him still in the discussion,
as he should be.
Because the thing with Mulholland Drive is it had an interesting, it never broke through to the phenomenon thing, but it was something that people were still seeing, but it still had like a limited sort of broad sort of audience. And so
Yeah.
I think it was just, but it still got Best Director nomination. It still got
Yes.
like, Oscars and stuff. So I think it was an interesting that it sort of peaked probably just right to hit that sweet spot to sort of be well regarded going forward. Like if it got too big, then that's when you get the backlashes. But it never maybe got big enough to get enough of a backlash, maybe.
No.
Yeah.
No. And matter of fact, when Lynch passed, my local movie theater here, it's like a little art house cinema that holds like, I mean, maybe 30 people. It's very small, but they did a screening of Mulholland Drive and it sold out. It sold out every night they did it. And it was amazing sitting in a room full of people who'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
But wanted to see it because they had heard about Lynch's passing and they'd heard about this movie and it was really something special. And, you know, I met people who were like, it's not really my thing, but I'm glad I saw it. And I had a lot of that going on that night, but I was like, I appreciate that they took the time to come give it a shot. And it was really special to get, because I never got to see it in the theater. So it was a really special way for me to get to watch it, you know, in such a very intimate setting. And just really get the chance to let it just kind of wash over you and just really enjoy it. And being in a room full of people who were, some of them had seen it before and loved David Lynch, other ones seeing it for the first time. But it was a really neat experience. And it definitely just shows the power of cinema and really and truly, like, I mean, Lynch was a master of the form. Like he really was. We'll never see anyone like him in our lifetimes. We'll see people who like try to do like Lynchian films, but you're never going to see another artist quite like him in our lifetimes.
Well, and it's interesting that this was a failed TV pilot that he turned into something else, turned into a movie that has this significance and this weight. Yep. And then he went and made a TV series that that people treat as a long movie.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Which we're, as you were saying,
that film. Yeah.
We're halfway through now. We are now at the halfway point with episode 9 of 18, part 9 of 18. Yes. And so, yeah, it was interesting, especially after, you know, episode 8, the infamous, infamous isn't the right word, but the just legendary episode 8, which is so breaks TV. To come back to an episode that is so plot driven again, right? Like it's interesting to, like, I was really touched by how much this episode was focused on getting back into the story again after that little
pump the brakes a little bit, right?
Yeah, breathe
a little bit, right? Because it still goes like nonstop from here on out. But this was a good, because like I told people, if you weren't with this show after episode 8, you're just not with it. Like it's not going to be. But this was a great way to start getting back into the mystery and getting back into, you know, a little bit of everything. Honestly, we're learning more about the situations in Las Vegas. We're learning more, you know, about Major Briggs. We're back in Twin Peaks, so we're again back into the familiar territory after going into a very, very crazy and almost unfamiliar place at the end of episode 8. So this was almost it's a return to form for the previous episodes, but still moving forward with
the weirdness of this episode that is the traditional weirdness of Twin Peaks.
Right.
Feels very normal now after what we just
right. After episode 8, you're like, oh, this is fine.
This is all totally normal.
Deal with the headless bodies from another dimension. Like, that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything now, it all makes sense. Now it's all coming together.
Right. Yeah. That's right. So where do we want to start with part 9?
It starts with Cooper, Cooper doppelganger, right? Walking away from whatever the hell that was in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And we meet Tim Roth. He's part of the cast.
Is this his first episode, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I think. I love Hutch and Chantal. Like they are fabulous together. Like Jennifer Jason Leigh and Tim Roth are perfect together. And there are so many theories that people have about like what they represent. And one of the things I love is that some people think they represent like, you know, like the infection and like malnutrition in society because they're constantly eating shit food. Right. Like they're always eating like chips, like fast food. Like
she hands them that bag of chips.
They never eat anything that's considered like healthy or natural. So
God bless Jennifer Jason Leigh. I'm sure she's a lovely person in real life and she's an incredible actress, but I don't know if anyone embodies white trash as well as she does. Like, she is really good because with this and the Hateful Eight.
And the Hateful Eight, yeah, I was going to say, yeah,
like,
Daisy
wow.
Donahue is really great white trash as well. Yeah, she nails that shit. She does.
But you're right. They're such an interesting. Like I think we've seen her once before.
We have seen Chantal
once before. But I think you're right that this might be the first time we see him. And they're just so like they're so obsessed with him. They're so enamored with him, and just so like he's just so deferential to him as the just doing yes sir, doing whatever he's.
You can go have sex with my wife.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Totally fine. Give him a kiss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's so cool.
Yeah, exactly. And she's so into him, and like I said, he gives him the bag of chips, which it makes me laugh every time I see it. But they've got good stuff coming up, and this is feels like it's the intro to them, right? And it also shows, and it shows how he's just got such a network of.
Yeah, I was going to. The network was the exact word I was about to use. That Mr. C has built up a network, and it's not just in Twin Peaks. He's got people all over the place, and
all over the world,
all over the world, right? And Hutch and Chantal, honestly, they tie into all the stuff in Las Vegas in the long run. And again, that's why the Las Vegas sections of this are my favorite things in The Return. Like, they're just my absolute favorite. And Hutch and Chantal are a big part of that. Like, they are those two actors playing off of each other so beautifully. Like, they really do. Like, you really feel like they have been a couple for a long time, man. Like, they're so good together. And I've always loved Tim Roth. And I've always loved Jennifer Jason Leigh. So getting to see them working under David Lynch is fabulous. And they fit into that universe perfectly. Like, they really do. Like, they're seamless, man. Like, and I love that. Like, they're so good together. I love every scene that they're in. And they get some real doozies as it goes on.
Yes, they do.
And then,
but therefore the order to kill the warden comes in. I just remember that the Warden Murphy, the order is officially there. Yeah,
is
stop by the house
anywhere, and then they're like, "Do you want Chantal to do?" He's like, "Do whatever you want, just kill him."
Yeah,
just get him done.
I don't care,
and they do.
Yeah,
spoiler alert, but they do.
Do we cut to Vegas? No, it's Cole on the plane first, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Well, he does call Vegas before the end of that scene.
He sends the text to Diane too.
Yeah, and he sends the text to
Diane. Yeah. But I mean, again, just love Gordon Cole. I don't appreciate your language. Oh, Buckhorn.
Buckhorn. Yeah. Oh, dude. Anytime you get Gordon Cole, it's a beautiful scene every single time. There is no bad scene with Gordon Cole in it. It is not feasible. It is not possible. Every Gordon Cole.
And I don't know the history of this, but my headcanon at least is that, again, Gordon Cole is a bit of a happy accident that they needed some instructions for Coop back in that initial season 1, and so they went, and he's like, I'll just do the voice, and so he does the voice, and he's not even screaming when he's doing it, and I think it just came from there that he eventually showed up for real and did the whole loud
the earpiece,
like, it feels like Gordon Cole is a happy accident as well, because he's like so much of Twin Peaks is.
And I love that in modern technology, he still has those old earpiece things. Like, they're still the same ones from the 1990s. He's never upgraded to like a Bluetooth or anything like that. It's still those goofy wires. I miss Lynch so much just because I love things like Gordon Cole. Like, David Lynch, when he did funny moments, when he did comedy, David Lynch was one of the funniest people on the planet. Like, the guy just knew how to make it work. And even when it was himself, as Gordon Cole, like, he just had the instinct. He had a really good comedic instinct. And this is, a prime example. The Buckhorn line, seriously. Yeah. First time I saw this, tears. I was laughing so hard. Just tears. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's interesting that he's graduated the character to be such a main player in The Return. Like, he was always just a cameo, usually a delightful one, whether he's talking to Shelley in the diner or whatever in the original series. But now he's one of the main players.
And I think that's what I love about this in particular, because we get to spend so much more time with Cole,
Yes,
and he's
yes.
at his best, honestly, when he's with Albert. So
Yes.
getting to see him and Miguel Ferrer, and especially knowing that this is the
in
last thing
top
Miguel
form,
Ferrer is going to
too.
do.
Not just in the scene where they get woke up and he's trying to sleep and he's like, yeah, I know. Fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck you, Albert. Yeah.
Yep.
And then
when
when
he
they
says
get to the morgue and he's like, and
Yeah.
they're explaining everything that's happened with the investigation, and he's like, I can't wait what happens in season 2.
I love how Gordon is like, apologies in advance for Albert, even though it's not in advance, it's already too late.
Yeah.
But we already seen Albert and the lady that runs the morgue.
Yes, I love
Yes.
her like checking him out, like, and their connection they're starting to make,
the
like
little
the little
joke with the marbles.
The marbles, yeah, so good.
That is one of my favorite little things that happens in this season is Albert finds someone who gets him, and it is so precious.
Well,
and
she's been
so
such
wonderful.
a fun character.
She has been. She's so great
this whole time. And you're right. As soon as you see them come together, you're like, oh, of course. Right?
Yes.
This is.
Why would it be anybody else for each other? Yeah. And the thing is, like, of the Buckhorn contingency, she's by far my favorite character.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's great characters in the Buckhorn contingency. It's all really great, but she definitely is the standout. And again, we'll get later on. There's a wonderful moment with her and Albert in a bar that's just precious.
Yeah.
It's I love it so much.
Speaking of the Buckhorn stuff, I gotta say, and I just recently watched The Life of Chuck yesterday, which is a really beautiful film.
I need to see that,
and he's quite good in his own scene. But I don't know. Matthew Lillard might be the best at pathetic crying, even going back as far as Scream. But just the utter.
I'll be honest.
Really fucked up here.
For me, he was the revelation.
Myself out of this.
Matthew Lillard is the revelation of this series for me. I'll be honest, I never was like the biggest fan of his. I did not like Scream, and I really didn't like his performance in Scream because it just felt so, I'm so kooky and over the top and I'm killing. Like, oh my God, I'm bleeding. It was just like, what is this? Like, I hated it. And I know I'm in the minority with that. I hate Scream. I genuinely hate those films. I think they're just bad films. They're just bad films. But like, and I didn't care for like SLC Punk. It just felt so forced. But then I love his Shaggy on Scooby-Doo.
It's hard to imagine anybody else doing Shaggy.
It's really hard to imagine. And I love that he still does the voice work now.
Kind of become Shaggy.
He is for a generation of kids. He's their Casey Kasem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really impressive that he still continues to do the voice. And I've seen wonderful interviews with him, like at conventions when he sees kids, and he will totally go into Shaggy voice for them.
Right.
And everybody who's met him say he is like the most delightful human being on the planet. So I'm a huge fan of Matthew Lillard as a human being. Like, I don't care for his earlier films, but like from Shaggy on, I like Matthew Lillard. But I did not know that he had this level of dramatic ability in him. I did not. And a lot of times too, it takes the right director to find that in someone. And if David Lynch is your director, I feel like he's going to find a way to get you there. Because what I've gathered is most actors are like, just tell us what you want. We would like literally walk over coals for you. Because he was just such a genuine human being. So I am a huge fan of Matthew Lillard, huge fan after this. And if I ever got to meet him, I would just want to talk about this. Like, my God, like, how did you get there? Like, you do some really intense moments. And I would agree. The way that man falls apart in those interrogation scenes, like, that shit ain't easy. Like, that shit ain't easy. And he really brings it in every scene that he is in this season. Like, he was for me the discovery. Like, it was just kind of like, wow. I would have not known if you'd have told me Matthew Lillard was going to like blow me away on that. I would be like, there's no way in hell he's going to do that. And man, was I fucking wrong. Like, he is excellent in every scene he's in this.
Well, and while we're on that scene, I think one of the things it shows the wonderful writing in this too, because so much exposition going on, but it never feels forced. It doesn't feel like one of those, like often in TV or movies, you'll get to a scene where someone's explaining something and you're like, okay, it takes you out of the story because it really just feels like they've cramming in the exposition. And I feel like that's going on here, but in a way that it just feels completely natural and so much a part of exactly what characters would say in those circumstances. And so I really appreciate, especially again, this following the last episode, to suddenly be in an episode that's trying to advance the story so much and move along plot points, to have that be done so well in the script is
but also
you know,
like the heady cosmic shit they're talking about.
Yeah,
Pun fully intended.
yeah.
Like, you know, we're in another dimension where we met, you know, Major Briggs and saw
his
him
head got cut
beheaded.
off. Yeah,
Yeah, like
exactly.
it's like holy shit, like that gets like again that cosmic horror that's always kind of there with Twin Peaks. Like, man, it's there. And again, it in any other show, it would be like, that's the fucking craziest thing I've ever heard. This is stupid. Why are we doing this? But yet,
After last episode, no, it feels normal.
Like,
No,
wow.
it's like, well,
If they met in another dimension. Oh man.
But it feels very Mark Frost to me. Like this feels like Mark Frost bleeding in a little bit.
Yeah,
because
totally.
he's been so interested in the sci-fi aspect of it, or the cosmic horror aspect, like the element,
and the police procedural part of it as well.
Yes,
again, that was where his bread and butter was.
Yeah,
and it definitely comes through in these interrogation scenes. Like it plays really, really well. All of the investigation stuff in this, I guarantee, like that's where Mark Frost had his voice heard the most, because again, the guy did Hill Street Blues. Like that's definitely his wheelhouse. Like that's absolutely where you want him to be, like in charge of the script. Like that's where you let him go.
Yeah, I just want to do the shout out to Jane Addams one more time before we move on, because I think she's so much fun to watch. She's such a great actor to watch in whether in comedy and drama, and so it's like and here I love that she gets really good screen time. So many actors appear and disappear and they're gone, and she gets some real screen time, and I love where her story goes. So seeing that spark sort of come together was really fun. But I would, speaking on the police procedural part, I wanted to get to, I didn't want us to miss out on the Las Vegas police investigation, which is such a great scene,
kind of in between.
Yes, exactly. But we were talking about the police stuff.
When we get there, I love the cut after we're in South Dakota where we go to Twin Peaks, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Sure. Yeah.
But the Vegas stuff, Ike the Spike gets busted.
Yes. So what I will say this about Ike the Spike too, that I wanted to point out, and again, this really, I think Lynch is a very empathetic filmmaker. And what we talked about this with Denise, but he's cast this small actor in this role, but it has nothing to do with his size. The role has nothing to do with his size. He's just, the actor just gets to play the part, and he is a threat, and he just gets to, and it's never referenced. It's not used for laughs. It's just, and I was really impressed again. And I think that's like David Lynch just being really empathetic about where, letting actors, play their parts and
Lynch was really into like the visual. So like it's a striking visual to see, a little person like with a fucking ice pick, just wailing on
murdering people.
Well, he's a scary, threatening looking guy.
And his little music piece, his little stinger that plays and stuff, like his little theme, like, dude, he's fucking scary. Like, I wouldn't want to fuck with that dude. No way in hell.
Yeah. And I mean, there are jokes in this scene, and there is a lot of comic relief in this episode. Sure. But it's not about his size. Like, we've got your palm print and your whole palm. Like, that's funny, but it has nothing to do with
his size.
No, exactly. And
but the whole so well handled. Is fantastic. Because they do. It got ripped off, man.
Well, I mean, they're cutting jokes all because the cops complain about how much he had to pay for his taillight fix, and David Koechner's like, must be a beauty.
Yeah. But there's the running gag of that third cop doing the giggle at the end, like that
that's all he
over and over again.
Pretty much does is he's just laughing at everything.
Yeah. But it's there's also, I love the part where they're like, I don't want to interview Dougie anymore. It's like talking to a dog. And now his wife does all the barking.
And say, but she does all the barking.
Yeah. So many good lines, so much comic relief in this one, but in a way, again, that feels so organic to the story and the characters, and none of it feels egregious or squeezed in or like, okay, this is filler or distracting us from the story, right? Like, I love that they're just, and I think it makes sense, because we don't want these cops to figure out too much, right? So we need a reason why they're not maybe
their
getting too far.
Not wrong that they're thinking Dougie's in witness protection when they can't find anything about him. I mean, that's a logical thing that you would think, this guy has nothing up until this time point. This must be an assumed identity.
Right. But I like that, again, all of these pieces are coming together to give us comedic relief, but advance the story and serve the story in a way that makes sense. And it all just, like, Mark Frost really is like one of the most masterful television writers that there are. And that's really shining through, I think, in this episode specifically.
And I'll just say, I wish more organizations had CEOs or bosses like Mr. Bushnell.
Yeah.
Dude, I will tell you right now, Bushnell Mullins is one of my single favorite characters in this season. There again, talk about empathy. Like the empathy we end up seeing in him, with Dougie and with his family, like he really ends up being such a real one. Like I love his arc through the story. And again, Dougie bringing out the best in everybody. The way that he helps Bushnell and the way that Bushnell just genuinely like cares about him, that he loves him, like, and he cares about his family. Like that stuff is so genuine, and everybody should have a boss like Bushnell Mullins. Like everybody deserves that, because he's such a real character. Like the Las Vegas stuff is just my favorite. And again, it's the Mitchums, it's Bushnell, it's Janie E and Sonny Jim, and it's the best stuff. Like it, and of course Dougie himself. Like it's just so good. And I love the scene of Dougie sitting in the room looking at the American flag, right? Like it's just
we
like
see
then the
red
pump
shoes,
and then the pump,
see the electrical outlet, like,
and then the electrical outlet.
He's connected
all one
dots
thing.
there.
Yeah. Well, and this is the time I remember when this was airing that there was a lot of buzz around, when is Cooper going to be back? When is Cooper going to be back? This episode teases it. It's still going to be a ways off, we now know, but it is teasing it.
He's
like
in
we're starting
there.
to see some of those. Exactly, that he's in there. I want to say about Bushnell, I think he's a character I completely ignored the first watch through. But with what you were saying, Kevin, and this on this watch through, I think I'm noticing more in a way that I hadn't before. But just again, Dougie's influence of kindness and caring and everything else is just I'm definitely getting more out of that character than I had the first time through. So I appreciate you highlighting him.
It's beautiful stuff, man. Like I'll be honest, Bushnell is a character that, again, at first he's kind of like, damn it, Dougie, you're screwing up. We need you to, and then like the more and more of the things come out, the more and more he realizes what Dougie's doing and figuring things out for him and stuff. Like the genuine like way that he cares about him, the way that he really takes him under his wing and like really wants Dougie to be successful and be happy. And it's just it's so genuine. And I know we haven't gotten to it yet, but there's one of my favorite moments in this whole thing is the Congo line, and you know what I'm talking about when I say it. And the way that they celebrate with Bushnell and it's so genuine and so charming and so perfect. And Bushnell really and truly, like I love his character. I love his arc. I love his kindness. I actually like, there are moments in the Las Vegas stuff that makes me so happy that I like tear up about it. It's so beautiful and empathetic and kind and wonderful, because that's what Dougie is. And it's the stuff that, again, we desperately need that in the world today. And we need men like Bushnell Mullins in charge of more things, period. Like, I love that he was a boxer, battling, Bushnell. Like, I love that stuff. Like, I love that we just find out more about him just for the little clues in his office. But everything that we know about Bushnell as it goes on is just, Bushnell is a real one. That's a dude who's got your back. And, that's beautiful.
I think you hit on something interesting talking about Dougie's influence. So if the doppelganger Cooper is attracting the worst of the worst or bringing the worst out of people, Cooper and Dougie is bringing the best out of everyone that he comes into contact to.
It's why the Las Vegas stuff is so great for me, because it's where most of the laughs really are. Like the biggest laughs are in the Las Vegas stuff. I don't think that's an arguable. I think it's very factual. I mean, we cannot say enough about Janie E and Sonny Jim. It's not possible.
Yeah, we don't get a lot. We don't get a lot of Janie E in this episode. She's just sort of sitting there, but I mean, she's
there.
Yeah,
she's doing a lot, just sitting there with the shoe half off. Like, there's stuff there. She's working it.
Yeah, she's barking. That's right. She's barking. No, but it's just like all of that stuff is so wonderful, and there's such a and I think that's really the weird thing, like, you know, when you look at all the craziness of it, but like all the stuff in Las Vegas is sort of about family, you know, the family that you make, the family that you
Right.
have. And that to me is something that really sticks with me. And it's why I find so much joy in everything in Las Vegas. Like, I just think it's some of the best stuff David Lynch has ever directed. I think it's some of the best stuff that he and Mark Frost has ever written. And I think everybody in those moments, because we still haven't gotten to the Mitchums, and the Mitchum
You know
brothers might
what?
be my
That's so interesting. You mentioned that, and I was thinking about this episode. I didn't realize the Mitchums weren't in it until so much later. Like they have such an impact.
They just
They
I
have
thought they were
such an
in it.
appearance early on, and then they kind of don't
That's it.
show up again till later.
And
Yeah,
they, if I'm honest with myself, they are my favorite thing about The Return. Like, without a doubt, all of my favorite moments in The Return revolve around them. Like, they honest to God do.
but they were like what we've seen so far of them is more. They seem more threatening, and again, it's because of that what this part of the story is doing and bringing out the goodness in people.
What happens when they hang out with Dougie?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's right. Yeah, but it's interesting that for something that's so. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say something that's so impactful that you're in. You know, that you think about it as being much more prolific throughout the series, and then you find as I'm rewatching, I'm like, oh, we still really haven't gotten to hardly any of that yet. So yeah, still so much to come. We are only at the halfway point.
Exactly.
Sorry, Cody, you go.
No, you were finishing up because I was about to cut away from the Vegas stuff unless either one of you have something else to talk about in Vegas.
I'm good.
But I love after we get all this exposition in South Dakota and all the dark stuff about the cosmic, and we're explaining what happened to Major Briggs. We cut to Twin Peaks, and there's the sunlight. The sunlight's coming in those trees into the sheriff's department, and we got Andy and Lucy arguing over the color of a chair.
It's such a beautiful scene. Such a beautiful scene. Like, so there's been a lot of great Lucy and Andy moments in The Return, but this one is just so lovely. And I was smiling through the whole thing. I just love what it says about them and their love and their caring for each other and the way they interact. And you're right. Like, we've just seen this, like, that opening shot that really struck me again. Not something I really remember as a standout from before, but it struck me this time watching it through. You get this beautiful shot of the sheriff's station with the sunlight shooting out over top of it, and we're just get into this warmth again. You see Andy and Lucy and having this argument that it ends up being a moment of just real love between the two.
Well, yeah, because he likes the red, she likes the beige, and then he tells her it's okay, you can get the beige, and then she's like, you know what? I'm gonna get the red.
Yeah,
such a good guy. And she has a great moment when Truman and Hawk and Bobby come back. She's like, I'm not here, I'm on lunch break.
Yes,
even though she's sitting right there.
That is a great moment. This is an episode with a lot of love in it. I mean, speaking of, they were coming back from Briggs's home, right? And that too, like, so that scene, I hope I'm not jumping ahead too much here, but that scene just ties in to the original series so nicely. That little speech by Mrs. Briggs, and about how he foresaw how things were going to work out for you. And I mean, we're seeing it now. Like, we get to see Bobby as this very much growth from that original portrayal of who
he's
Bobby
his better
was.
self. He's finally his better self.
Yeah,
he's the version of himself, the version that Major Briggs saw in that dream that he told him about at Double R Diner. He's there, and it's that, because again, we talked about that when we talked about that episode. Like, that is one of the single greatest moments in all of Twin Peaks. It is so beautifully performed, the music and everything. It is a moment of just sheer perfection, and getting to have Mrs. Briggs have a very similar moment with Bobby, and it is very full circle. It's really beautiful.
It's a great moment for fans of the whole series and the whole
absolutely.
mystery.
It's a very lovely scene because it just shows that even though Bobby, because I'm sure a lot of people who watched the show back in the 90s would have thought, well, Bobby's just a little shit.
Right. And they weren't wrong.
They weren't wrong. But even then, we saw his arc moving in that direction.
Garland and Mrs. Briggs were, just how good a decent people they were.
Right.
Like it did have an impact on him.
It did.
Yeah,
And he
it
was
did.
able to find, and we're going to see with him and Shelley as the
Oh,
show
yeah.
goes on.
Yeah.
But it's, no, it was, that moment was beautiful. The, all of Bobby's sort of being able to reveal stuff from his dad had sort of
Right. With his
left for
childhood.
him from his
He did
childhood.
have a good childhood with his
Yes.
father. Like,
Yeah. There's a lot of that, and it's moving the story forward.
Yes.
It's giving us details for the mystery. Like, again, like such a well-crafted episode. It's so easy. I think if I was watching the show and binging it to get to this episode after what we just saw in 8, I could see it being really difficult to get really invested. But what's beautiful about this episode is, again, just how much it is accomplishing. And it's so much beauty. There is some darkness happening in Twin Peaks that we're going to get to here in a minute, but another sort of redemption arc is Ben in this scene, in this episode, where he says, I can't do this, and she says, you're a good man. And it's like there's so much. I'm like, what's going on with Ben's storyline in The Return? And it really is, again, I think, showing that his desire to be good at the end of season 2, that second half of season 2, has paid off. He's achieved it.
Did it. He actually went through with it. He said what he was going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that he can change, and he can, because he was a horrible person.
Yeah, he might have been one of the most evil people in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, and he did horrible things and hurt lots of people, and he's not that person anymore. And that's really optimistic that someone could change. Now, you could critique and he never really paid a price for it, but maybe he did. I mean, he lost Audrey in a lot of ways, right? Like, and we're going to get to that. So maybe he did pay a price for some of his, what he did. But I mean, it doesn't appear that he's with his ex-wife. I assume she's
no, because later I think later when we have them on the phone with each other, it does say ex.
Yeah. So maybe he has paid a bit of a price, but I mean, it still feels like it is this optimistic story, and this, and again, the humming, and yes, it's a scene about him showing that he has achieved this goodness, but it is also moving the plot forward, because this is going to be important to how everything spills out at the end. And so we don't know that yet, but it's nothing here is throwaway. It's all interconnected, and it's achieving different things all at the same time in different layers. Like, really, really effective stuff. And again, since I mentioned her, we do get to briefly see, what is Mrs. Horn's name? I've totally forgotten it now, but we get to see her briefly, and it's a disturbing scene.
Oh yeah, because Johnny's running around
and hurts himself. Sylvia, that's it. Yes. Yeah. And so we do get to see her briefly, even though we don't actually see her face, but it's that's a disturbing scene. So as much as there's a lot of this sort of optimism, hope, love being shown in these Twin Peaks moments, we do get to that bit with the Johnny and how things are not good.
But it is a big growth for Ben, not only because of him changing who he is who he was in the original series, but there's a natural chemistry between him and Ashley Judd,
absolutely,
together.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
But he's acknowledging not just because of the age difference, but she's a married woman, and he's her employer, he's her boss. So there's a lot of levels of no, this is all wrong.
This isn't right. Yeah. I mean, they've set it up. Obviously, she's got a difficult situation. She's probably looking for. There's probably the opportunity for connection would be something that she would be vulnerable to, not necessarily perhaps because it's what she wants or needs, but because it might be filling some, gaps that she's having, and he doesn't take advantage of that. And that is a different Ben than we saw in the original series, for sure. And she's a beautiful woman who would, an obviously very accomplished woman, and very intelligent. Like, everything about her would be something that would be attractive. And yet he says, no, this isn't, this isn't something I should be doing. So it's good to see that for Ben.
I want to put up one other thing I love in the sheriff's department when they go to the conference room to discuss, and Chad, who's just the shit of a person.
Yeah.
And you could tell
he's such a Chad.
Hawk cannot stand him, and Hawk is not going to open that door for him. But it's finally like, well, if it'll get you out of here, fine, I'll open the door. But I don't want to open the door for you.
Yeah, they're just, again, it's a little moment because just to remind us, Chad's a shitty guy. And so we're going to remind you of that because he's got something important to do coming up here next episode that will show that he's shitty. But so we just need to remind you of that. But it also establishes, again, that the sheriff station is not what it was. It's a bigger organization.
No, it's a bigger
not the family
organization,
that it was. Yeah, and that's reminded us that you can't go back. It's not the same. Things are different. Lucy's on her lunch break. I'm not here. And Chad is eating his lunch where he shouldn't be because he's a dick. Yeah. It's and then they get to have that scene with Bobby. And it's just really, again, everything is serving multiple functions at once. And you just so well, all the balls are in the air and they're all flying where they're supposed to be flying, right?
And we have David Patrick Kelly still tripping balls in the woods.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that scene. What is that about? Is it just there to distract? Like, why is his foot, who is not his foot, talking to him? Like, any theories, anything to say on this? Or is it just his
I think it's literally just
I think it's just, let's put David Patrick Kelly in some crazy shit and let him play.
Because I don't think that leads to anything, does it?
It doesn't.
No. I think it's just, this is the actor. What's he good at doing? He's good at being completely batshit crazy.
Let's just do something weird, and let's just say that his foot is not his foot. Like, the first time I saw that scene, I was in tears. I was laughing so hard. Like, it's so out there, and it's also so perfectly Lynch. Like, it's so ridiculous. But again, it's a throwaway scene. I don't think it has anything to do in the grand scheme of things, other than just to show us that Jerry does partake in the family business, and he is out of his goddamn mind out there in the woods.
Way crazier than he was.
Way crazier. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
it's so good.
He watches Dr. Jacoby or listens to Dr. Jacoby's broadcast. So he's one of his listeners.
Yeah. Okay.
He's probably got a golden shovel. Let's be honest.
I was like, am I missing something here? Is this connected to something that I forgot that I'm not connecting to? But maybe it is just, So I watched The Warriors for the first time a few months ago.
Really?
So amazing. And I saw him. I was like, oh my God, that's great.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to do a shout out. What a great, because I'm a Lin-Manuel Miranda fan and listen to the his take on it and then watch the original movie because I'm like, I've got to see this movie. And so good. So much about it that I loved. I can't believe I missed that movie for so long. It's, again, there's a list of them that I just never got around to seeing that I need to, and that's one I've now ticked off the box. But that reminded me of him.
If you like that film, by the way, Arrow Video has a phenomenal box set for it, and it's
knock
your socks off great. It's I have it. It's fabulous.
Blu-ray.
Okay,
top notch. Yeah. That film is so amazing, and like, it's such a product of its time. It also feels so timeless. It's so amazing in that way. Like, and David Patrick Kelly is so creepy in that film. Like, he's the smallest guy in the room, but he's like a fucking bulldog of a guy. Like, he is in your face. He is not afraid of you.
Right.
He's the one that pulls the kill shot on Cyrus. Like, he's out there, man. Like, he's scary.
He does he's in the Lin-Manuel Miranda version. He plays one of some of the cops. He does plays one of the cops. So it was great to see him bring some of them back.
It's him and I think James Remar.
Yeah, I think so.
They both come back.
Hey, Jax.
Yeah, it's really good. Anyways, gets a little diversion there. I don't know what that scene's about, but it's a delightful scene.
It's awesome.
And not every scene. Okay, so I've just been going on about how great this episode is for weaving things together and having them all be interconnected and accomplishing all these different things. And then there's this great throwaway scene that is just there, perhaps serving no other purpose than just being delightful.
Yeah, that's all I had to do.
That's all I had to do. Also, Twin Peaks too.
Yeah,
there's also going to be just random stuff happening that has no connection to the.
And it doesn't even feel like it's Twin Peaks weird. It's just he's on this. He's just stoned.
He's like on a spiritual journey. It's really
exactly. It's not connected to any mystery or
It's just like
Cosmic,
in the
nothing.
original
It's
series,
just,
there's that one cutaway to the Double R Diner, and it starts on the scene with the guy going, "Hot damn,
yeah,
that
yeah.
pie is good."
Right.
Doesn't serve any purpose, doesn't
Sure.
do anything more for the scene, but it's awesome. It's one of my favorite moments,
Yeah,
and
no, for
it
sure.
lives rent free in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Okay, fair enough.
Is there anything else going on other than when we cut to the Roadhouse?
Yeah, I was going to say I definitely want to talk about the Roadhouse, but yeah, what else did we? What else haven't
Well,
we
they go
talked about in
outside
this
to take care of the cylinder, right? So Bobby tells him, like, the only way you can do this thing, it's like a trick. You've got to go outside and you got to like throw it on the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's where he
of
tells
course,
him
that's where they get
about
the coordinates for Jackrabbit's Palace.
Palace,
Mhm.
and it says Cooper.
Exactly. So again, a throwback to, you know, the original transmissions that Garland found that said, you know, Cooper's name multiple times. So it's a really neat reconnect there. And of course, this place was a place that he and his dad went to, so it has significance to him. But of course, as we'll find out, it has tremendous significance to what all is going on in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And it's really great that, like, again, like Garland Briggs was kind of like planting seeds in Bobby, you know, like preparing him for a day when this was all gonna be important. He was gonna be needed. You know, he could see that.
Yeah.
And I love that we're getting that. Like, it's really cool to see, you know, Bobby's, you know, evolution to being like the person his father always believed he could be. And again, like the idea that it took a little private joke basically between him and his dad to move this forward for this important information, you know, like the little cylinder, the fact that it's hidden in the chair of a leg, and like all that craziness, like it's so fun. And then, you know, it ends up being something very special between him and his dad, ends up being something very, very important in the grand scheme of things. And you can read a lot into that if you want, you really can. There again, like there's going through this again. And I think it's just where I'm at again. Like, again, art kind of finds you in different ways and it finds you when you need it. You know, like we were talking before the podcast, you know, like the movies that we've seen this summer that have been so optimistic and so positive and stuff, like, and there is so much of that in Twin Peaks. Like, there really is. There's so much of that. And it's like healthy masculinity, healthy relationships. Like, yes, it definitely shows the other side of things, but there is so much goodness in these characters, and there's so much goodness in their relationships. And that's something that makes it, again, part of the appeal of going back to it, is that you do have these wonderful relationships and this wonderful sense of optimism and family. And again, the family is not just the people you're blood related to, it's the people that you make. And, you know, Twin Peaks becomes a family for Cooper, you know, and that still carries through here. It's very, very important, actually. So I just, to me, it's been really awesome, like picking up on that more than I have even in times past. There's something really, it's funny because Lynch always has a way of doing it. He can show you some of the scariest, the creepiest, you know, crazy shit. And at the same time, he can be the most wholesome motherfucker on the planet. And this is an episode that shows both sides of it. You see the wholesomeness, you see the comedy, you see the darkness, you see the gore. It's got a little bit of everything, but there's that sense of optimism and hopefulness and wholesomeness that it's, you know, I've picked up on it more this time than I have in times past. And again, I think it's just where it's finding me where I'm at right now in life.
And the other thing I want to say, and I know we've brought it up numerous times, but I think it's incredible how he was able to integrate characters from the original series and the movie of actors who played those characters who were no longer with us and still let them be integral parts in this story.
Yes. Yeah, here mostly Garland Briggs, but yes, it's I think there's a number of examples of that as this goes along, and you know, Briggs being so essential to the main narrative of the return is really interesting, and just all the ways they're bringing him in.
Yeah,
I will. Okay, so before we get to the Roadhouse, because that's sort of where it ends, I did want to talk about the smoking scene, which I thought was really fun as well. So we sort of skipped over it in Buckhorn. I think that was in Buckhorn, right?
Yes, it's in Buckhorn. It's outside the morgue.
Yeah. And just
Cole
all the
and Tammy
silence.
go out there because Diane, because she gets mad when I forget the detective's name, but the South Dakota detective telling her she can't smoke.
Yeah. She's like, it's a morgue. So she's outside, and there's just so much silence between her and Tanny. So much is going on between them. And the thing with Gordon Cole smoking, and I mean, my understanding is that David Lynch had, that was from his personal experience, I think, of trying to quit smoking, right? Is he incorporated some of that into that scene. So anyway, it's just a really powerful scene again, showing that Diane's one of the best characters in this show, and just always great. I mean, again, it's maybe not her most showy of an episode, but still when she's there, she's great. Just taking up all that space and being awesome. And
I mean, she's one of those performers. When is Laura Dern not great?
Right.
Always, dude.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I definitely, the Roadhouse in this episode really struck me. We've had this pattern of people talking at the Roadhouse. I mean, sometimes you just get the bands. And again, there's the image. We often get introduced to the Roadhouse with the image of the light, the sign reflected in the puddle.
Yes.
So it's upside down, right? So again, with Lynch, my mind goes places, right? Like, is he showing us some mirror world or something? Is he reaching, when we're going in here, is he flipping the script somehow on us? And we're talking about, suddenly there's all these characters that we never see interact in the rest of the world or Twin Peaks. They're talking about characters that we never see. There are scenes in the Roadhouse that have characters we know in them, but not this one. And there's a lot of them where there's just these other characters. And the rash in this episode bothers me so much. I just have so much difficulty watching this. I will admit.
And she works in food service. So
But I mean, and some of it is it just, there's this idea, we're going to see more of it, of just a sort of a general sickness that's been infecting.
Yes.
So is that what's going on here? And you could look at it as simple as that. Or are we seeing some, I've read theories about a purgatory being represented here. I don't know. Any thoughts on what's going on in this scene?
I took it to be like that corruption concept.
Right.
That to me is really what made the most sense to me. That it's just a simple view, because I mean, so many people were always like, why are we talking to these two people? They don't have any connection to this.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't necessarily have a direct connection like you think it does, but it's doing storytelling. It's actually like filling in some blanks for you without having to say so. There's obviously like something going on wrong in this town. We'll see more examples of it, as the series goes on. Some of them at the Roadhouse, some of them in the town. But to me, I always thought that it was a prime example of just the corruption, like an infection. What is a rash? It's an abrasion. Like something has rubbed the wrong way.
Because things aren't clean.
And the Roadhouse has always been kind of an epicenter for like the corruption and the evil that exists in this town.
Sure.
It's like a beacon for that. And
I mean, look at who your bartender is,
Right.
There's another Renault. It's another one. And then,
it's called the Roadhouse.
Renaults for how many years?
Right.
For how many decades?
Right. And it's called the Roadhouse. I assume it's not necessarily in town. It's probably just outside of town.
Right.
So you're getting a lot of people that aren't necessarily locals. But I also think it's like, it also adds this, ironically, a sense of realness to Twin Peaks, that is often seen as so surreal. And that, in TV shows, one of the things that feels unreal is that you only ever see characters that or have relation to what and you only ever hear conversations about characters that and so there is something that is very grounding in real world about just there are other people around that don't have anything to do with the people we know, and they have lives and things that are going on, and they're talking about them.
Well, I think it's also
these are real musicians playing themselves. They don't acknowledge really any of the names of most of them, other than the super famous ones.
Right.
For me, when we get to him, they use his real name, but Eddie Vedder, too.
Right.
No, for me, like watching these particular scenes remind me, because at that time, for the past decade, we've been dealing with the opioid crisis in Appalachia, and it looks a lot like that
everywhere.
It looks a lot like that, and in Appalachia, especially West Virginia, we were like the epicenter, and so it really hit home with me the first time I watched it. Again, just showing how even in these small rural areas, corruption can happen. And it can happen sometimes overnight. Sometimes it happens over years, but it absolutely can happen. And that to me is really, that's why I go to that route for that scene and for the stuff that happens like that, because I literally saw that happening in my home state.
Right.
Like, I mean, like when I worked downtown, like there were mornings where I would show up and there'd be someone on the ground and I had to go check with them to make sure that they like didn't need like a Narcan shot, if they were alive or whatever. You know, we would find piles of human shit because when that stuff clears out of their system, it just clears them out.
Right.
And they have no control at all. And it was just awful, the stuff we'd see downtown. And this is downtown. Like, I can't even imagine what it looked like in even the more rural areas of our state. I don't even want to know, you know? So like, I really feel like he even could have been talking about that, because it definitely is something that, yes, it's like you said, Colin, it is everywhere. It's not just in Appalachia, but for us, like in Appalachia, like that really hit home.
Right.
I mean, we had 2 sitting presidents come here to address the problem. Like that's how bad it is. That's how we are the epicenter. And to me, like that's where this always felt for me.
Yeah, I still think it's interesting how he's using the Roadhouse so differently than how it was used in the original series.
Yes.
I really I like what he's doing there. I find it really interesting, and I think it gives us a lot to think about. And I like I said, I think there's something that's really interesting about the fact that we don't only see our characters go there and interact there.
You just see people who are either also town folks, or maybe the next town over, or maybe even people who are Canadian that are coming over. Are people just traveling, passing by?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little microcosm, you know, and that's sort of, you know, that's a pretty cool place to be. And they do it really well. I mean, it's like I said, that the rash in particular was definitely one of those where I'm just like, oh God, please take the camera away from like, but it is kind of, again, painting the picture of there are more people who exist here than you think. And you don't know all of their stories. You don't know all of their names, but that doesn't mean they're not here.
Well,
I appreciate that.
If one thing the return has done, because I forget what the actual population size says of Twin Peaks, but it makes us realize it's maybe not as small town America as the original series viewed it as. Like maybe it's not a huge major city, but it's like a fairly decent sized community.
Right.
Well, and if anything, it just goes to show too that just, you know, even the smaller communities, they grow, you know, and not necessarily for the best, but they will grow. They'll expand, you know, that they get bigger, you know, more people move in or whatever, but that also changes the makeup of the town. You know, it's not the same place that it was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Just look at the world in general. Our population, you know, is like, look at our population now and look at it 50 years ago, radically different. Same thing with any town. So I to me, like I said, I've really appreciated this season showing that Twin Peaks has continued to go on. You know, it's not stuck in a little bubble. It's not some perfect little place. It just remains the way it's always been. It's continuing to grow like the rest of us, which is, again, why I've always said that you can never go home again is the best way to describe this whole experience, because it's never the same place as it was, you know?
Yep. No, exactly. I think it's, we do get a lot of Twin Peaks in this episode of Twin Peaks, which we don't always get. So I think that was, you know, also something interesting about this episode. And I think we're going to get some more next episode. So I'm looking forward to continuing on into the second half of the return.
Absolutely. It's crazy. We're at the midway point.
Yeah. Yeah, we are now into the back half.
Truly.
Yep. We're halfway there, guys.
I think I've talked about everything about this episode that I sort of had been thinking about.
I can't think of anything else we haven't hit. I was like, wow, we really breezed through this one, but I guess, you know, after episode 8, we kind of needed that. We needed an episode that was a little more procedural.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But I do again appreciate that, like you said, it's a nice easing back into the flow of things, from that last departure that we just had, and I appreciate that. It is just a very good episode of television, as we've said about numerous episodes, basically every part of this thing. It's a great standalone hour of television, and it's so great that we got a chance to see, David Lynch unleashed, really and truly, like just unleashed, getting to do whatever he wanted to do. It didn't matter about nothing had to be censored, nothing had to be restrained. Just do what you want to do, whatever your mind comes up with. It didn't have to be not so weird for network television. Nope. You can have a guy has foot talking to him. Tell him it's not his foot.
It's showtime. You can do whatever you
Showtime,
want.
baby. Showtime.
Okay, so when are we doing episode 10?
Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up the calendar now. Let's see. So what is that? The 17th? How does the 17th work?
Right now, it seems okay.
Right now,
I think
seems
so
okay.
too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If that's fine, we'll do the 17th. If that ends up not being fine, then we're going to have to push it to September because the last 2 weekends of August are busy.
Okay. Well, we'll try to make sure that works then, but we'll try our best.
Yeah, that should work.
All righty. Well, you gentlemen enjoy the rest of your evening. Colin, happy belated birthday again.
Thank you.
Enjoy your extra day off tomorrow.
Thank you.
Indeed.
All right, guys.
Always a pleasure, guys. Take care.
See you in a couple weeks.
Good night.
See you in a couple weeks.
Bye.